What you are hearing right now is the sound of the dancing elks. The elk, a majestic beast with a long, scaly trunk, a bifurcated tongue, absolutely no tail, and it's a sort of bluish color around daybreak, can kill a man with the gamma rays from its shin. Man and elk have learned to live together in harmony, however, thanks to a Mr. P. Eppinghume from Droitwich, who every evening gives them all a faceful of raspberry flan. The elk, as well as having a shrewd economic mind, is also exceptionally good at connect power, although it can never demonstrate this to anyone, as it has absolutely no opposable thumbs, and therefore can be seen weeping openly outside Walmarts the world over since the death of the shell suit in 1994. Klaus, I don't mind you doing these little bits before the show, but could you kindly teach the elk not to crap in my slippers? Thanks. Alright, hello and welcome to yet another episode of the After Movie Diner. And this is a very special episode because it is 2:15 in the morning. We are in the Waverley Diner in the West Village. What is this considered?
Soho area.
Soho area. I don't know what this is considered. It's in the West. Anyway, it's 6th Avenue. We have just been to the IFC Centre to see Masters of the Universe, and sitting across from me in the booth of the diner tonight is none other than Mr. Kirk Howle, formerly of Schlock Treatment. Mr. Howle, how are you, sir?
Good. How you doing, John?
Excellent, sir. Excellent.
Past my bedtime. I'm never up this late anymore.
I have now officially been up 24 hours straight.
Wow. 24, just 24 exactly, or?
Yeah, 24 hours basically. I slept yesterday from 7 p.m. through to about 2:15, 2:20 in the morning, and it's now 2:20 in the morning the next day.
Oh, wow.
So I've been up 24 hours, and in that 24 hours, I have watched 7 movies.
That's insane. You're insane, John.
Yeah, and this was the 7th one. It was Master of the Universe starring Dolph Lundgren.
So you ended with the best movie.
I ended with the best movie I possibly could. Because I figured out that this is one of the greatest movies. And the other nice thing about this diner is you can always hear the subway rumble underneath.
Oh yeah,
that's
you're right.
one of the.
Feel it in my feet.
Yeah, that's one of the features. That's how they sell it on Yelp or whatever.
Features spelled F-E-E-T-C-H-U-R-S-E-Z.
Indeed.
All right.
Whatever he just said, I agree with. So I'm thinking something breakfasty. Although the last meal I had was pork belly, melted Gouda on cheese focaccia.
Oh, fancy.
Focaccia, or whatever you
Did
pronounce
you
it.
make that, or did you buy it somewhere?
I bought all the individual things, but I put it together myself.
You didn't just pull it from the air and create it with your powers?
With my man
meat
powers?
and cheese magic?
No, my meat and cheese fat magic wanes. I have grown tired of my meat and cheese fat.
Well, just wait until the
quote
great
Skeletor.
eye opens. The great mouth opens and we shove food of power into it.
So first of all, let's choose. This is always a tense moment for the listeners as they wonder what it is we're going to eat.
Yeah.
I've already had 2 meals today, so I feel rather extravagant having a 3rd meal, but whatever, here we go. Technically it could be breakfast for the next day, I guess.
Yeah.
As I start the cycle all over again.
Breakfast is going to make me too sleepy, so I think I'll go with like a open-faced sandwich of some sort. Maybe a turkey.
Oh, hang on, they do a French toast deluxe with 2 eggs, bacon and sausage. I wonder if I could get 2 lots of sausage instead of bacon. So that's my decision. What are you having, Sir Kirk of Howleshire?
I think I'm going to go with the sliced turkey all-white meat with turkey gravy.
Nice. So that's a lot of turkey then. You turkey, you jive turkey.
That's right.
You toiki. It should be toiki. You have to say it like that because you're from New Jersey, so you have to say toiki.
Quake from New Jersey.
You have to say it like the policeman in this movie, played by the bald-headed dude from Back to the Future.
I've already forgotten his real name.
Yeah, who cares about his real name?
Lubick?
Well, Lubix is the character in this, and he runs around in a hilarious 70s brown leather coat.
Yeah, and for a kid's movie, he surprisingly very often yells, "Holy shit!"
Can I
get the sliced turkey sandwich?
Is that French fries or home fries?
French fries, please. And can I get a Coke with that?
Yeah, I'd like challah French toast, please. Can I get that with 2 eggs, scrambled, and sausage? Thanks. And can I get a strawberry milkshake with that, please? Thanks.
Excellent.
Right, so, that's the first thing with this movie, is that it's based on a line of kids' toys, right, which then became a kids' cartoon. That was very, obviously a kids' cartoon. It was not a subversive cartoon. There was nothing about it that was...
It's even more confusing than that, though, because what I read about this movie, they got the rights to the mini-comics that were sold with the toys.
Right.
And those comics did not match up to the plot of the cartoon at all.
Oh, okay.
So basically, in the comics, He-Man was just a wandering barbarian who happened to be given this special sword that made him strong. And he wasn't a prince. There was no Prince Adam in those little comics.
Right.
And a lot of the other characters were very different from what they were. But then in this movie, they made them even more different from that. So they made a lot of weird changes.
Okay.
So there was no Orko in the comics that came with the figures.
Right.
But yet they felt the need to put Gwildor in there, who was basically a surrogate Orko.
Yeah, he's basically the character you want to punch repeatedly in the gill flaps.
Yeah. I don't know, I used to. When I was a kid, I hated him. I actually see much more of the comedy in his character now, and in a lot of the characters, like the police chief.
Right. No, I mean, I always hated Orko, and I always hated Gwildor. And I even hated the plastic Orko toy that had it had like a serrated pulley. Do you remember that? And you would pull it through, and then it would spin round. And even that was annoying. It was annoying to it was annoying to
shove the stick in,
and then pulling it out was annoying, and then watching it go and fall off the table was annoying. Everything about it was annoying.
Yeah.
And it was just.
Thank you.
But I did quite like the battering ram guy, whatever his name was. Ram Man.
Yeah. Their names are really creative.
Right, except
take a word, dash man, or
unless you're a woman, in which case you are Teela or Evelyn or So
She-Ra.
Basically, my point was though, they were like kids' toys.
Yeah.
And predominantly what everyone remembers from the era was the kids' cartoon, which was, like I said, it wasn't like Pixar is today or the Muppets were back then. It wasn't subversive. It wasn't something that adults could watch as well. Like, it really was just morality tales.
Yeah, and every episode was as non-violent as they could make it.
Right.
For a show where lasers were flying all over the place. He-Man never really struck anyone with his sword.
No.
He would maybe grab you and get you into a bear hug.
Right.
That was the level.
And at the end of it, they stood around and went, "Oh, Orko," and then had a laugh. Right.
There would be a little lesson they would tell.
That's what I mean. It was all little morality plays for children, right? So you take that and you give that to Canon, who are notorious. I mean, their big hits were like the Chuck Norris stuff and some Bronson stuff, and you can tell that this was also made during the period where they had acquired the rights to Superman, but Superman 4 had flopped big time, and they were actually going into bankruptcy as this was going on.
I think this was made, I read somewhere that this was made like a 7, they had the budget for Superman 4, but they split that in half to help make this movie.
To help finish
so
this
it even
movie.
took away from Superman 4's success to create this movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, this movie was almost the movie that crippled them. I mean, they were going through bankruptcy and receivership while this was being made.
Yeah, and
the director was so awful it needed several reshoots that Cannon couldn't really afford to pay for, but had to do just to kind of try and get it out.
Cannon actually stopped shooting before the guy even finished the film.
Right.
Like, he didn't shoot the final battle scene. They were like, all right, you've taken too long, that's it.
Yeah.
We'll just have an ending where it just fades out while they're fighting.
But the hilarious thing is that entire Castle Grayskull interior set was built. It is a 3-level, enormous set, right? I mean, you see it at the beginning. Skeletor starts walking from all the way around the corner. You see him come all the way down. Then it's this massive hallway.
Yeah.
At no point during the movie do you need any of that space. It could literally have just been that corridor, a couple of faked holes in the floor, and a map painting for the rest of it. It didn't need to be any of that.
I watched an interview with the guy who constructed that. He designed it to be. It was made for like sword fights.
Yeah.
Fight that they do, so that they'd be able to go up and down stairs on the different levels.
It was meant to be like an old Errol Flynn, like huge, big soundstage, and it's
since they ran out of time, they had to shoot the last fight in like a little dark room.
Right. Oh, and by the way, if you've ever listened to the commentary on the DVD, which I have done, and I would urge everyone to listen to the commentary on the DVD, this guy, the director, Gary Goddard, Goddard, is it?
I think that's right, Goddard, yeah.
Yeah. He thought he was making like a big Hollywood masterpiece. Like, he was absolutely convinced that this was amazing.
Well, I don't really blame him, because if you look at the sets, looked amazing. The costumes are pretty great for
right.
the time.
Well, what he ends up making is a slightly more expensive Flash Gordon. I mean, it really is. It's. I mean, Flash Gordon is our generation's Flash Gordon, but this is like Flash Gordon's sort of what, end of the 70s, early 80s? When is that?
That was, I think it was the early 80s.
Okay.
And this was like
87. I want to say 87, 88.
What, for Masters?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, because it was after the toy line had already faded, like after '86.
Right.
When no one was really interested in these toys anymore.
No, nobody gave a shit. Like, Canon doubled down on so many things they should not have doubled down on.
Yeah.
Like Superman 3, nobody really liked, and yet they went ahead with Superman 4. Then they thought Master of the Universe, that's going to fly, but like you say, by the time it came along, everyone had moved on to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, whatever the next thing was going to be, right?
Yeah.
And then, as I say, instead of making a kid's version, which one could at least condone, because you would at least be like, well, you want to get the 4 to 10 bums on seats, like that's what you're looking for, right? This is going to be a big summer family-friendly movie. No, you have it so that there's multiple death, there's gore effects, there's weird, like genuinely scary monsters for kids.
One of them gets acid thrown in his face.
Yeah. He gets acid thrown in his face, things get set on fire, people are put in real peril, and also, like you say, people are cussing all over the shop.
Yeah.
And there's a slightly creepy dude who runs a music store in a leather cap, which is nothing I would want to subject to children. Thank you so much.
Oh, look at that shake. Is that strawberry?
Yes.
I can tell because it's so pink.
Yes, it looks like the flesh of the youthful.
I thought you were going to say you felt flesh of Gwildor's cheeks.
It does. It looks like something Gwildor might squeeze out of his gill flaps. Which, by the way, why would any creature on a desert moon have gills?
You're right, yeah, the only landscape they showed of Eternia was this vast desert.
Well, it's Star Wars, right? It was like, it just looked like Tatooine or something.
Yeah, they definitely... yeah.
I mean...
They borrowed a lot of ideas, but it's hard not to.
Basically, the storyline is this. Gwildor is a massive idiot because he invents something without realizing what he invents, even though he's purposefully inventing it, which is another thing that got me really confused. Because at one point He-Man goes, no, Teela, he didn't know what he was doing. No, pretty sure he's the inventor who created it and knows that it opens doorways to other worlds. Pretty sure he knew exactly what he was doing.
He didn't know that Evelyn was going to come steal the key and use it to break into Castle Grayskull, apparently. Because she just showed up and...
No, but he knew that it had the potential to be able to do it.
Yeah, he knew he could get anywhere.
But she showed up just because he was a locksmith. Well, if he's a locksmith, he must have a key to another world.
So do you think there was Skeletor's original plan just to find this guy who's a locksmith and have him just jimmy open the lock of Grayskull?
Yeah.
Why don't they just do that then? If
Can
it
you
was that
get
easy?
me through the back door, Gwildor? Of course I can. I'm Gwildor.
I would love to see that, like a heist film.
Yeah.
Gwildor and whatever.
Skeletor tried to like creep through the air vents with his big hat on and his shoulder pads and everything.
Yeah. And every scene could just end with him being like, Gwildor!
So Gwildor, who's a massive idiot, invents a Japanese synthesizer that opens portals to other worlds.
Oh yeah, and he invents this thing that's basically a keyboard, but he doesn't know what music. It doesn't make sense later on. He's explaining to you. Is it Kevin, who's the birth boy? He's like, what? You know how to pull these notes from there? How? And he's like, oh, I have a keyboard. What is keyboard? It's like this thing you made that you call a key. What are keys? It's like,
yeah. I suddenly know nothing. Why do I have a face full of labia? So, in the midst of a very uninspiring battle in Castle Grayskull, while he is trying to open a portal that will allow them to take the... I'm already bored.
well, the sorceress was trapped
trying to get the sorceress
some sort of like tube
force
of light.
field.
Yeah, force field. There you go. And they said only Skeletor could break it, except
Gwildor if they opened a portal. But apparently, trying to open a portal into a force field takes Gwildor an inordinate amount of time.
Yeah, it takes him more time to do that, to open something that's in the same room as he is in,
than
as
to
it
send
does
people back in time.
Yeah, into a different universe.
Yeah. So that's all very confusing. And at the very last minute, they scrap that whole plan because they figure a fish out of water story would be much better, even though there is no real fish out of water element to it at all. They go to Earth, they stride about, no one comes up to them and goes, the fuck, what is going, like...
Well, only Lubeck or whatever.
Right,
He's the
Lubeck.
only one who's like, who are these weirdos?
He's the fish out of water. Everyone else just goes along with it.
That's true the whole
Courtney
time.
Cox gets told this implausible tale about Castle Grayskull and Skeletor and this, that, and everything else. She's just like, oh, right, we must help you, yeah.
And every time Lubeck shows up, he's like, I gotta shoot these people. Like, he's got a gun ready to blow everyone's brains out. Everyone has to yell at him, no, you're an idiot. You don't know what's going on.
The other great thing is, throughout the whole movie, Skeletor keeps saying, keep He-Man alive. And then his very last speech before they duel is, I just want you wiped off the face of the earth. I never want to see your face again. I'm like, you've had 60 you had him tied up.
Yeah.
With like hundreds of stormtroopers around,
all
with
guns.
laser cannons,
Yeah.
and instead you had Blade, your villain Blade,
Who is the smiliest villain I've
homoerotically
ever
whip
seen.
him with a hollow whip.
Yeah, it was like a
laser
animated
whip.
red laser
Yeah.
whip. Looked really goofy.
Which again, I would have said, do away with that because that's money in the budget we shouldn't be spending on animating a laser whip. Just have a regular whip. Or better still, hit him with something. Like just hit him with sticks or something.
Was it turkey?
Oh no, that's Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, well, the whole fish out of water thing, this is a problem I have with almost every cartoon that gets made into a...
Well, Howard the Duck does the same thing.
Yeah, they have to, instead of, they create this amazing world in the first scene. It's
Right.
like, oh, we're in this strange, unusual, fun, interesting place.
Right.
Let's just put them in Earth and, like, who
In a
knows where.
loincloth. Yeah, sorry.
In a music store or something.
Yeah. Let's take him back to meet Charlie the keyboard player with the leather cap and his
Yeah.
literally looked like a sailor who was about to go on shore leave.
And what other movie did they do that? The Smurfs that came out a few years ago. They brought them to Earth. I don't know why, if it's a budget saving thing. If they're just like, we only want to build one set and then we want to shoot in the streets.
Yeah, I mean, I would have looked at what they would do. I would have been like, right, halve the size of Castle Grayskull because there's really no point. Like, you spend 90% of the time over by the throne and you don't even shoot that in an imaginative way. Right. Secondly, do away with like laser cannons and laser whips and all that. Like, we don't need any of that. Like, just have a little flash, like muzzle flare that comes out the end of the gun and have people, I don't know, go and fall over when they get fired. Like, nobody cares.
Or just get rid of the guns, because it doesn't make sense with guns and swords.
why is it that out of everything, He-Man is the only one who wears a loincloth and a cape and carries a sword, when even his two best friends are in the military of Eternia?
Yeah.
I mean, Man-at-Arms has an emblem and a whole uniform and whatever. Teela has
they're
the
wearing
same
like
uniform.
Kevlar uniforms or something. And He-Man's got like a little gold buckle, 2 big shoulder pads, some furry boots, and that's it.
Right.
I don't know. They never explained that.
No.
They didn't give any sort of origin for any of the characters. That was
No.
one of the problems. They just threw all these characters together and
Skeletor, who is a living skeleton in a robe, has hundreds of generic nobodies in black stormtrooper gear,
yeah.
like basically cycle helmets and plastic armor.
Yeah, I read that they were based on samurai.
But he also had, well, whatever.
Come on, there's an art to this.
Yeah, of course
it's
there
not
is.
just random.
You mean they didn't
shit
just look at it
thrown
and go,
together?
give them all helmets, so that the same 10 stuntmen can play all 60 of them?
Ooh, you think in that scene where they warp into Earth and there's like just a long line of guards walking past? You think it was just 2 guys
walking round and round and
running
round.
around to the back
Yes.
of the camera, walking past again?
Yes, that's definitely what it was.
All right, I enjoy that scene so much more now that I can imagine that happening.
The other thing was that on top of all these people, apparently there is only one of every race left, and some of them are evil and some of them are good. So we get a pig boy, a beast man. Oh, this is my favorite thing, when they line up the 4 quote-unquote mercenaries, right?
Yeah.
One is a humanoid called Blade, who is hilariously camp and over the top, and I love him to bits. He just goes Blade, and he steps out. He's got the whole, like, everything is, like, sharp
Pointy and
corners
sharp.
and pointy and
Yeah.
hilarious.
There's no way, like, they told him to take someone alive, and they're like, how is he going to do that? No matter
Right.
if he grabs them, he's going to chop their arm off.
Also, he's wearing an eye patch. Not someone I want to give a sharp pointy thing to, someone with no peripheral vision.
Good point. Haha. No pun intended.
Right. So then they line them up, they go Blade, and then they go Flag, who is like the lizard guy, right? Just generic lizard guy.
Sorod or something?
Not lizard guy, just they call him Flag.
Yeah.
Then it's Beastman, who we all know, he's from the
Although,
cartoon.
did you notice they called him the Beast Man?
Right.
He was like, not just any Beast Man, this guy's the real deal.
Right. And then they go, and then again there's like Blarg, generic guy. So there's Flag, Lizard Boy, Beastman, and then Blarg, generic guy with an enormous hair. Like, hair that is in no way practical for battle whatsoever.
And he's shorter than the other guys too, but he seems to be their leader.
Right.
You know what he is? He's the counterpart to Lubick, because Lubick was, I noticed, was a head shorter than every other actor.
Right.
But he's playing it like he's the biggest guy in the room.
But he's Wallace Shawn in The Princess Bride. He's Fezzik, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's also got lizard-like features.
Wallace
Right.
Shawn does?
No. The He-Man character, Flarg, or whatever his name.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was just really funny because instead of having like Blade, Lizard Boy, Beastman, and I don't know,
Lizard Man or something.
whatever,
Yeah.
or like Lizard Face or something, it was Blades, Flarg, the Beastman, Blurg.
Yeah. Some of their names are just told what they were, and some of their names were just a random sound you can make by clearing your throat.
Absolutely no consistency in this world whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
And also later on in the movie, when Skeletor speaks via hologram, he goes, "People of Eternia," and there's
Like, what, 4 people, right?
6 extras that they've, like, the only people left on set that
Yeah.
day. They've just,
Would you notice they did the same shot at the beginning of the movie and at the end of the movie when he talks to the people?
well,
But one of them it's daytime and one of them it's nighttime, but they're all standing in the same positions. Like, they've got these these prisoners standing there with their hands on their heads for 3 days or whatever.
it's incredible. So,
So we were talking about...
the
The one good thing that did come from them having to travel to Earth is I kept thinking about this the whole movie, and it was cracking me up. Because Gwildor drives in at one point in a pink, what was it, Corvette or Cadillac?
Pink Cadillac.
Yeah, pink Cadillac. And they're like,
because why not?
Some sort of land boat.
Right.
Well, why don't they know what a car is? They know what a boat is.
Right.
They probably.
They all speak English fluently.
Did they refer to the flying ships as, look, it's an airboat?
Right, exactly.
Watch out, that man's running towards us and he's wearing foot boats.
Yes. Although this is the planet of Eternia where they refer to people who literally lead nobody and actually act alone as centurions, completely missing the meaning of the word centurion, which is he who leads 100 people.
Ah. Those were the guys riding around on the air skateboards.
Yes. Right? They were the ones on the hoverboards.
Yeah.
So they go all the way back to Earth. Or as they would say in Flash Gordon, and when they land on Earth, humour ensues because they meet a cow and they think that it's intelligent life, hardy-ha. But also, they lose the key. The key is distributed miles away. We don't quite know why, how that happened, whatever. But anyway, they lose the key. So, the rest of the movie, Skeletor is trying to get hold of the key. Never really explained why when he has one of his own.
Well, because he didn't want them to show up and do the same thing they did before.
Even though when they showed up and did it before, they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, why didn't they just wait in that room for them to show up and have all their lasers aimed at the spot they're going to appear at? Just blast them immediately.
Why not just get every single, like all the people in that room, just all of them, and whenever they show up, just kill them on sight.
Yeah.
But Skeletor had this thing that he wanted to keep He-Man alive, and wasn't even bothered about killing the others. Like Man-at-Arms, till he was like, let them go.
Because he kept saying He-Man has this status as Eternity's hero. Everyone thinks he's going to win, so Skeletor wanted to have him like surrender to him basically on TV, like on whatever that big hologram was.
Like them doing hologram.
So, but they never showed any reason why anyone would think He-Man was their hero. Like,
right.
It showed people fighting in the distance, and he's just standing on a hill looking bored.
Yes. I shall stand up here until someone comes up to me. And then may unimaginatively wield my sword at them.
Yeah. I think
so, they go back to Earth, where we're introduced to Courtney Cox and her boyfriend Kevin, and are given more backstory about the two of them in 30 seconds time than we're given about any of the people on Eternia.
It's so infuriating, because those were the characters I cared about the least, but I was forced to learn all about their little lives.
Yeah.
And yet, yeah, I mean, I remember hating that about the movie when I was a little kid, but watching it now, tonight, I was actually like, alright, they actually did some good character development for these two. They're the only ones who really go anywhere.
Yeah, we know nothing about Eternia whatsoever. We don't know why they're locked in battle. We don't know why He-Man hasn't put his sword through Skeletor
we don't know what
years
those
ago.
great eye is they keep talking about.
Yeah, we don't know what the eye is. We don't know why the sorcerer is so shitty that she gets herself kidnapped.
Yeah.
It literally starts this movie after all the interesting stuff has happened. That's literally where this movie starts.
That's true. And then it's just all that happens is Skeletor's waiting for them to come back.
Right. It's like there's it's like there's a prequel that should have been made. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would be like starting Lord of the Rings after the Battle of Helm's Deep and going, wow, if only people could have seen that battle. That's literally what it's like.
Yeah.
There are two movies leading up to it, but no, we're just gonna start after the Battle of Helm's Deep. You should have seen it. Millions of orcs. We were fighting on castle walls. There was elves and orcs and dwarfs and all sorts of people. Where are they now? Oh, they're dispersed. Dispersed now. You're just left with me and Jeff. And me and Jeff are going to have an uninspiring word battle across dimensions.
Was there a character named Jeff?
No, there wasn't.
Oh, I wish there was.
But certainly wasn't in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, so you learn all about these kids' lives, but she... this shouldn't have...
How's everything?
Very good.
Delicious, thank you.
This shouldn't have been such a big laugh, but at one point, Courtney Cox is telling her boyfriend about how her parents died. Oh, they go to the graveyard.
They go to the graveyard, yeah.
Cemetery, where there's a creepy statue of a gargoyle right next to her parents' grave. And she's like, I never told anyone this before, but I caused
them to die.
I caused my parents' death.
Yeah, it caused my parents' death, to which we all had much chuckles in the cinema.
Yeah.
Because it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It just came out of nowhere.
It's such a crazy...
It's also a bit like Phoebe Cates' story in Gremlins. It's got that kind of same kind of...
Yeah, where her father got stuck in the chimney. And
overly melodramatic, pointless story.
Which they then parodied in the sequel because they realized how ridiculous it was.
Right.
But this movie didn't realize how ridiculous Courtney Cox's little speech was.
No, and she didn't cause them at all. All she said is, I don't want to go to the beach today, I've got to study. Because she wanted to hang out with her boyfriend.
Yeah, so technically he caused her death.
Yeah. So then her father instead went, well, let's fly to Catalina for the day. Her father is apparently a terrible plane pilot.
Oh, you think they flew their own plane?
Yes, because at the end, the mum says, but your dad's a good pilot. And the way she stops him is by removing the map that he was going to use to fly there.
And the keys.
And the keys and all that.
All right.
They must have like a little Cessna or something. Again, never established.
Yeah, and I did not catch the dialogue that explained that at all.
No.
That was the problem with a lot of this movie, was things were explained so quickly at times.
Right. And other times not explained at all.
Yeah.
And all of it utterly inconsistent.
The only thing they spent any time on dialogue-wise was Skeletor's speeches, which were great. Like Franklin, is it Langella or Langella? Frank Langella is awesome in this, and his Skeletor is very...
Ming-like?
Yeah. And he's a good... archetypal, evil villain.
Yeah, throw the odd bit of Cod Shakespeare in there and you're on your way.
Exactly.
I mean, literally, he's cut from the same cloth as, like, Ming the Merciless or Christopher Plummer from Star Trek 6 or any of those kind of things.
Yeah. But, yeah, he's perfect. But they didn't spend any... If they would have gone to the trouble with He-Man's lines, he could have at least had something to say at all.
No.
But his lines were all one or two words. He came across as kind of like just a big dumb guy, just booting around, smashing stuff.
Yeah, but he had a heroic. Well, you say that, but when they land on Earth, he says, "Let's spread out and cover 15 parsecs."
Yeah.
While we, this is the other thing we've got to get to, is that their units of measurement and time can still. He's like, "Oh, it would only take me four cum-plums to do this." Cum-plums quilt? Yes, 4 cum-plums.
Every time they said a unit of measure, it was another word. It was some new word. So the audience had no point of reference for how long this was going to take.
We've got 17 centigrams until the moon is in its setting.
Yeah.
Just those actors read that in a script and go, what is this nonsense? And this is my main problem that I have with all fantasy, and it's more obvious in this because it's not particularly well handled, but I have this problem with all fantasy, Lord of the Rings included, all of it, nothing gets away. Star Wars doesn't get away from it, Lord of the Rings doesn't get away from it, Never Ending Story doesn't get away, like you name the fantasy thing, none of them get away from it. And that's the fact that everyone speaks English except the odd thing. Like, a flagon of ale becomes a glethbeg of ale. And you're like, no, it's like it's a mug of ale. Like, just, you're saying ale, so why does it have to be a glethbeg of ale or whatever it is? Like,
it's totally pointless. It serves no purpose but to confuse the audience.
So, throughout the movie, Man at Arms and Gwild are always saying, like, it's 17 klebnobs till whatever happens, and you're like, he goes, I'll need at least 17, parsecs before I can mend the, and then there's this bit at the end where Gilda's like, well, if I have to jimmy rig this keyboard contraption thing, I'll need a cloth neck of Glorg, and he's like, oh, I happen to have a cloth neck of Glorg attached to my
pulls off some device that's been on her shoulder the whole time for no reason.
We don't know that it has any purpose, but apparently Quildo needs it.
Yeah, and then Manor pulls something out of his pants. Same, like he just happened to have this fully functioning electronic device in his pants. I don't know why.
I'll also need an intergalactic Clanks mag. Oh, I happen to have one of those tucked in my pants.
Oh God. Yeah, but that stuff was cracking me up the whole time. Though I have to imagine the actors, to a certain extent, get a kick out of how stupid the dialogue is.
But
like they must be laughing about this. Yeah.
They go down to Earth, everyone's speaking English. We've already made the leap that you're from Eternia and they're from Earth, but we all speak a common language.
Yeah.
You don't need to start throwing around like, what's a cow? And, it's a land boat.
Why didn't they realize that was like an animal? I don't understand that at all. They were like, oh, it might be an intelligent being.
They had a pig boy on their planet.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. Every animal on their planet was a person.
Right. Everything on the planet was anthropomorphized.
Alright, so now I do understand their confusion in that respect. Oh, but we gotta talk about Pig Boy. You just brought him up.
He's not in the movie at all.
No, he's on screen for like 2 seconds. He's the little kid who has a pig face who hands Skeletor's scepter as he enters in the last scene.
Yeah.
Do you know what his backstory is, that kid, that actor?
No.
That was a little boy, like a 10-year-old boy who won a contest through Mattel to be in this movie.
Right.
And the filmmakers forgot they were supposed to put this kid in the movie till like the last minute. So they were like, oh, shit, let's throw a mask on him and just make him hand Skeletor's scepter and he'll be in the movie. And that was...
So that's why he's listed at the end?
Yeah.
Because I was like, Big Boy, why does he get a credit?
To me, it's so hilarious. Like, I just imagine like this jaded Hollywood like group of executives being around this kid when he's on set, like, here, put this mask on. You're gonna be Pig Boy. You think you're glad you won this contest now? Here, hand Skeletor scepter and get out of here, Pig Boy. Guess what your nickname's gonna be for all your friends from now on? Pig Boy. Still like movies.
You still like movies? How can do you? Ruin your life. Somewhere, that child is a grown man weeping in the corner of like a meth den, having just taken the life of a 17th prostitute.
Oh man. I actually looked online when I was
Weeping
looking
blood
up.
tears in the corner of a cheap motel.
Quietly oinking to himself. I looked up Pig Boy online, and somebody actually made a custom figure, like using one of the like He-Man muscular bodies and put the little Pig Boy head on it. So people are aware of this character, and they've like created a backstory for him in the future. Like this is just a character that people out there are in love with. It's amazing. His name is Pig Boy.
That is the cruelest, the single cruelest thing I can imagine. You won a contest? Well, fuck you, kid. We forgot all about you.
Back to the plot. Whatever the plot was in this movie.
That's incredible. Like, fuck you, kid. You're gonna be Pig Boy. I want to be Pig Boy. I want a contest. I want to be He-Man. He's not in this scene. Fuck up.
12 hours of makeup. You're gonna be in the shot for 2 seconds.
And then we're gonna put your name big across the screen at the very end of the movies. All your friends know you are Pig Boy. Oh man. Oh, that's hilarious.
poor bastard. Can you imagine? You'd go, if it was me, I'd go, seriously, don't bother. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
No, you will be Pink Boy. No, it's fine. Seriously, I'm not that married to it.
Thanks to an excessively generous donation by Mr. Benjamin Davies to the podcast this week, I would like to give a big shout out to his website, which is www.stoptalking.org.uk. He's a fantastic photographer, and if you need wedding photography, portrait photography, landscape photography, corporate photography, event photography, he does magazine covers, all sorts of things, just go there and contact him, and he will do the business. Benjamin Davies, the professional photographer. Check out www.stoptalking.org.uk. For all of you in the UK, if you're getting married, if you're having babies, if you want to do portraits, whatever it is, contact Ben. He's the man to call. And thanks ever so much, Ben, if you're listening, for your fantastic donation. If anyone wants to donate to the podcast, you can either support us on Patreon, which is www.patreon.com/aftermoviediner, which is patreon.com, or you can do a flat donation over at the website aftermoviediner.com. There is a donate button in the right-hand column. In fact, the donate button carries across all the right-hand columns of the website now. It's had a spiffing new redesign. So if you wish to donate, please just go to our website, aftermoviediner.com, hit the button, and please keep the show going, help pay for the diner meals that we have, help pay for the equipment that we need, help pay for the website, show your appreciation of the show, and indeed send us on tour in 2016 to come to a town near you. Thanks ever so much, and now back to the podcast.
What about that funky headdress that Skeletor gets at the end? Apparently getting the power of the universe means that you have to dress like a RuPaul's Nightmare.
Yeah, that was a... The thing had so many... It didn't need that many pieces stuck to it. It had like bat wings on the back. It had like a city skyscape on the top. It had like...
He looked like an Indian god, like one of those...
like a Vishnu kind of thing.
Vishnu or Krishna or something. I don't know what those gods are.
Like if you took all of those gods and just mashed them together into one god.
Gilgamesh or whatever it is, I don't know.
Yeah, it looked pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But
he also kind of looked like what would happen if one of the Golden Girls had a makeover. You know what I mean? Like, like if it was...
Oh, because his face, the lower half of his face was all pale and just like...
I just mean, like, if you imagine like B. Arthur was dragged into one of those glam magazines and they were like, we're going to glam you up.
Oh, okay. And they like constructed all this
gold
through sparkle. Just like...
Because he kind of looked like an old woman. Suddenly he was wearing like a Florida jumpsuit, you know what I mean? Like one of those white and gold jumpsuits.
And because you could only see the lower half of his face, it was just like pale jowls.
Right.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that looks really weird. And I don't think they ever made a toy of that. Although if they did, that would be something amazing.
It would. I want the Pig Boy toy though.
Oh,
that's what I'm really after.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about Pig Boy. How sad that is.
Well, apparently it had kind of a happy ending because he got to meet the whole cast and crew. There's like photos of him like with Dolph Lundgren before makeup and then with Dolph Lundgren in costume, and like they look like they're being nice to him.
Right.
But
I don't think Dolph Lundgren's a bad guy. I think he's a nice guy. He's an educated guy.
Yeah, he
MIT professor, scholar, whatever.
He wasn't ready for this movie, though, I don't think.
No.
Not for the... He wasn't ready to speak on camera in anything that resembled not a crazy accent. Like, he was great in Rocky IV because he just had to do a Russian accent, say a few words.
Right.
But to do, like, a heroic voice, it just didn't work in this.
And yet... what's it called? Dark Angel was before this.
Oh, was it?
I Come in Peace or whatever it's called.
Oh, they came out before this one?
I think so.
Maybe you're right. Well, maybe this was filmed earlier and just released later.
Maybe, I don't know.
Whatever the case, he claims it was his worst acting experience. Like, it was like a nightmare being on that set. because they kept trying to shut them down like every day.
Right. Well, because they had no money.
Yeah.
And like, Canon were notorious at this. Well, they were always notorious for like writing checks they couldn't cash.
Yeah.
But this was like at the point where really they couldn't.
Well, they went so far as to kind of swindle Mattel because there was some deal they had with Mattel.
Yeah, they got
Mattel
a bunch of money up front that they couldn't then. Yeah.
Well, Mattel was going to pay for like the first half of production. Once that money ran out, then Canon was supposed to, cough up the rest of the money. And at that point, Canon was like, "No, we're not going to."
Yeah.
And then Mattel was like, "Well, we need this movie for our toy sales. Like, this needs to happen.
Yeah.
We have to sell more toys, or we're going to fail. So we'll pay for it."
Right.
And then their toys didn't sell anymore anyway.
No, because this is the movie they got.
Yeah.
This shambolic Flash Gordon meets Star Wars meets Howard the Duck meets Back to the Future meets.
It's a glorious failure, though. I really enjoyed. Like, there's a lot of things about it I really liked seeing. Do you want any fries?
No, I'm good. I've had enough food in the last 24 hours to kill a rather healthy nun, so it's all good. So yeah, what did you enjoy about the film?
Mainly the visuals, like everything, all the practical effects that were on screen looked pretty awesome. The makeup was cool.
It is ridiculously violent, though. I mean, they like go out of their way to kill as many people.
Yeah.
And okay, a lot of them are just through laser blasts, so you might be like, oh, that's nothing. Like, kids play like that all the time. But there's some people, like you say, someone gets acid in his face, the boyfriend gets his face pummeled into a cupboard and thrown into a thing, and then the janitor is like all...
Through a door.
Yeah.
This line was hilarious to me when Kevin comes to the school after all this mayhem happened, and they're loading the janitor into the back of an ambulance. And Kevin is like, "What happened?" And the janitor just says, "You don't never want to know."
What about the bit where, for no apparent reason, Lubick was like, "I was in Korea and I never saw shit like this."
Yeah,
and I'm like, where did that come from?
Do you think that actor just was like, "My guy needs more backstory. We gotta know why I'm such a jerk."
Like, kids are sat there in the cinema going, "Korea? What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Things existed before I existed? I don't think so.
At some point, he just seemed like the actors were just making stuff up while the camera was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the guy who plays Strickland, I'm just going to call him Strickland because that's what he was. I'm pretty sure he turns up to every single film role and just like, this is how I'm going to play it. It's tough. When you hire the Strickland, you get the bull. You know what I mean? Like, this is what you get. Like, how about him at the end? He's like, sure, he's suddenly like De Niroing it up. Sure, I'm going to stay here in the future with the nice dame and the fucking...
Yeah.
And you're like, what are you talking about? He's winking at the camera.
Why did they give him the castle at the end and let him... Like, this was the same day, I assume, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Do your French fries, man?
Too full. Very good, though. I ate about half of them.
Take your time, don't rush.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, so it's just the same.
Yeah, so what was the resolution of the movie? I'm trying to remember.
Well, the resolution of the movie is that they get back to precisely where they were at the beginning of the movie, except with an injured Courtney Cox.
Oh, yes.
That was the other thing. That's the other.
Into a pizza.
But it was like you saw like bits of fat and bone and gore and pus and
bubbling.
Like, I mean, that's a grotesque special effect.
Yeah, I think we all had kind of a visceral reaction in the theater. We all just kind of, whoa.
Yeah.
Nobody
Because it looks like her leg is split open.
Yeah.
And you can see like the fat in her leg bubbling.
Yeah.
Like, it's disgusting. And I remember it from my childhood. Like, I remember the heart being ripped off in Temple of Doom and stuff like that. And I remember just being like, they allow me to watch this? This is crazy. And when you watch those, like, 80s movies, they were just way more violent. Just in general, in terms of gore and viscera, there was way more of it in 80s movies.
I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
When I was a kid.
Of course.
Loved seeing it.
Because when we... That's great, yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much.
When we went out to play war or whatever, like, we would pretend to kill each other, and then we would go like... or like, pretend that we had like blood gushing out of our neck.
Yeah, if you had like a fake sword fight, you'd be like, I got your arm.
Yeah. Pretend we all saw that, like in Holy Grail and stuff like that. Was all fine.
But like, if they made this movie now, what would it? Everything would be just like very slick looking and dark and shiny, and there would be no.
I feel like I don't see. Well, you see, because I feel like they've almost entirely done away with squibs. Like when people get shot in movies these days.
Well, now it's just computers.
There aren't squibs, is there?
Well, like we both watched the movie Wormwood today, right?
Yeah.
And most of the blood effects in that looked like it was digital afterwards, which is odd because it seemed like such a.
I didn't notice that too much.
Maybe they just kind of augmented this.
Well, there was a lot of headshots, so it was like, I think what they did was they did the thing where maybe the entry of the bullet was digital, but then the blood coming out the back of the head was done for real, kind of thing. Because it didn't feel digital blood to me one way.
Yeah, that's true. It did look good. That movie was awesome.
But the worst thing is when you see something like The Expendables and it's all digital blood, and you're like, come on, guys. Like, you guys are the guys who wear squibs. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like Cobra and Commando and, Raw Deal and all those movies. It's like squib central. Like, that's what you want. Like, I want an extra that's getting paid scale to be squibbed up with more squibs than anybody else has ever had, and I want you to blow that sucker up for 5 straight minutes in slow motion on camera.
And then name his character Big Boy.
Name his character Big Boy. That's what I want. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't see. The closest we get, I suppose, is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle reboot that we just got. Did that have any?
I didn't see it, so I don't know. Probably not.
Because, like in the original one, I think it was set in like scummy '80s New York, right? With like punks and crazies and street gangs and all that, right?
There was. I don't remember if there was any like blood in the fights, though. I do remember the turtles looking beat up at some point, like after they had.
And I know that the turtles were banned in England. You couldn't call them Ninja Turtles.
Really?
They were called Hero Turtles.
Ah.
They were Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. So you could be a mutant, you just couldn't be a ninja, right?
Huh.
And because nunchucks were banned in the UK, as were ninja stars.
Oh.
And they because they were afraid of a rise of kids going out to buy these things, they banned them preemptively before we even saw the movie about the big rubber turtles that live in New York
City. So they banned it because of that movie? They were
scared of that. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Well,
so in ours it was Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, and then it was Heroes in a Half Shell, which was really cumbersome because it was Hero twice.
Yeah.
Whereas it should be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Heroes in a Half Shell, because that way you're not repeating it. Like a good lyricist wouldn't repeat the same word in a line. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I see.
I'm not holding myself up as a good lyricist, although you can buy my albums at missplumbingfixtures.bandcamp.com and judge for yourself. However.
You're a great lyricist, John.
However, I wouldn't use hero twice. But
the key is in lyric writing to rhyme hero with zero somehow.
Yeah, that's always the good way. Always the good way. Or Cheerio.
Yeah, or I'm such a hero, I'm going to go have a beero.
Yeah, with Nero, Emperor Nero.
Nero plays his fiddle?
Yeah.
Oh, that doesn't sound so heroic.
No.
Yeah, but that's why I love any old canon film. When I see that logo show up at the beginning of the movie, it's just like, yes, this is going to be good.
What's interesting is that there are a lot of those like sort of upstart wannabe major type minor distribution companies at the time. There was Canon and PM Entertainment and Orion and a whole bunch of those that were like New Line is the house that Freddie built. Like New Line was initially a distributor. In fact, purchased Evil Dead to distribute, and once Evil Dead finally came out over here because it came out in Europe first, and But their big franchise was 911.
Did they ban chainsaws before Evil Dead came out?
In the UK?
Yeah.
No. In fact, Evil Dead outdid The Shining on the video rental list for that year.
Wow.
It was rented more times than The Shining. It was a big hit release in the UK. Also, the only movie to be released on VHS and in the cinema the same day.
Oh, really? That's weird.
Palace Pictures decided to go all out, did a huge push, and it actually worked. They actually said it was a much bigger sale than they had any.
So that didn't take away ticket sales from VHS sales and vice versa?
Nope.
That's weird. So people just bought both?
Well,
They would buy the
I would
VHS
imagine it was
movies?
it's the days before home cinema being so cheap.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to see a movie on the big screen with an audience, you went and did that. But if you liked the movie, you bought it on the way home. Like, how many times have you come out of a movie theater and gone, I really enjoyed that. I wish I could go buy that now on DVD.
Yeah. That's a good point. They wait so long usually.
Yeah.
Months and months later, and
Yeah.
then you're like,
And now it's even more frustrating because now they want you to rent it on demand before you buy it on Blu-ray. Because now what happens is it comes out in the cinema, then about 2.5 months later it comes out on video on demand or Amazon or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Where you can watch it digitally, pay full price for it to watch it digitally, but never actually own anything physical.
Yeah.
And then it's all just in the cloud. And then 2 weeks later, it then comes out on Blu-ray.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. It's a dumb system, John.
It is dumb. It should come out, and I'm not kidding, Blu-ray, cinematic, and on demand all at once.
And VHS.
And VHS, and everything.
And a cassette, audio cassette of
Read,
just the soundtrack.
read by Ian McKellen. All movies read by Ian McKellen.
Keep that guy busy.
Yes, as Gandalf. Not as Ian McKellen, but Gandalf. So it'd be Gandalf reads American Hustle. Or like Gandalf reads Expendables 3.
You won't even be credited as Ian McKellen, just Gandalf. every cover will be a picture of him in full Gandalf robes and beard, just holding a video cassette of the movie, looking as if he's reading it somehow.
Yes, that's exactly what it should be. That would be a world that dreams of end if only. So.
Yeah, instead they make us wait like 3 Chromons and 4 Parkulex. I get in my land boat on the way home from the...
I've got to go at least 70 Kleptons before I get to the DVD store, and when I'm there, they've only got Scriptins left.
Oh man.
How many Blu-rays? At least 3 Scriptins. Oh, God. Let us chart a course, Kirk, of 17 Carth pens before we get to the glorious moon hole. It will shine. It will open its eye. The glorious moon hole will open its eye and shine its radiance upon us. Also, what kind of universe benevolently just bestows power on just whoever happens to be standing near it at the time?
Yeah, none of that made sense. The rules for why did it have to happen at a specific time?
No.
How did they know about this phenomenon in the first place? If it had never, I guess it had never happened before.
And how
right?
did he steal it so easily?
Yeah.
Like He-Man just took the sword out of the thing.
Yeah.
Also, some of this land was futuristic because when he put the sword in the lock, it went bidididip, and it had like a little digital high-tech lock to it. And then some other bits of this land are swords and sandals and dust and people who live in caves. That was great when the stormtroopers showed up at Gwildor's front door and ruined his rockery garden for no reason whatsoever. Destroyers of shrubberies.
Were those like Fabergé eggs that he had out front? They were stomping all over. It's
He
weird.
probably lays eggs out of his gill sack.
He's like a fish man or something, right? He's got gills, but he's hairy. But he's got ears like a rabbit or something. I don't know what he is.
He's at whatever's funny at the time.
Yeah. Whatever.
Played by
props-
Billy Barty, who gets apart from Dolph Lundgren, gets the lead credit in it.
He's the first
It
name.
goes
that shows
Dolph
up on screen.
Lundgren as He-Man in Master of the Universe, and then starring Billy
Billy
Barty.
Barty. The end. And so,
Some old fart as Matt
yeah, I don't know
who's
who
been
that guy
in
is.
nothing.
Yeah.
Tila looks familiar. She was in other stuff.
I don't know. Yeah, neither of them were. They were just kind of blah
But Dolph
characters and
Lundgren and
actors.
Courtney Cox are the two biggest names in this whole movie.
It's true. Well, Billy Barty's a pretty big name.
Not a pretty big fella though.
It's true.
And he's got all those gill flaps all over his face. Looking like a bunch of vaginas.
In a way, though, he was kind of. He was like the bad boy of the film. He stole that car and
Yeah.
and changed it into a
There was this,
non-fuel burning.
all of a sudden there was this random ecological message right in the middle of the movie.
Oh yeah.
I don't need to burn any more fluorocarbons. I can just use my cup sex with the pig splebs, and then I can fling the dogs into the grim splebs, and then we go nice and quickly.
And he built this thing in like an hour, or less than an hour.
Yeah, out of parts that were just lying around an alleyway.
Yeah, and I don't know. And then there was a whole thing of them eating the meat from the restaurant, from the fast food place.
Yeah,
chicken place.
and
It was like
what's
ribs
very
and chicken bones.
interesting is that Evil Lynn has a contraption that is able to see the past.
Oh yeah.
She wafts a scanner over the scene.
It was like
and
those
is
things
able
that
to-
detectives use on movies to find out where bodily fluids are and
Right,
crime
but
scenes.
she just wafts it over the thing, and she's able to see intrinsically what happened in the previous fight.
Yeah, that wasn't explained. That technology.
That's some kind of magic technology. And yet, also, they were confused by a cow and musical instruments.
Yeah, and yet at the end, also, Skeletor refers to Earth as a primitive world, even though they're all very confused by all these strange
Also,
devices.
that's another thing. Maybe if you're trying to save money on a budget, you don't blow up all those musical instruments, which are all expensive. Maybe you set it in a hat shop and blow up some hats. Or maybe...
I'm just picturing the Kevin character going to his friend who works in the hat shop. Hey, you ever see anything like this weird electronic
also,
device?
who picks up anything that looks like that and goes, it must be one of those weird Japanese keyboards?
It was beeping like it was a bomb about to go off. Or
I mean,
something.
unless you're a racist. She might well have been. It's probably Japanese. Oh, it's definitely not Japanese. What did he say at one point? He goes, "I'll tell you something, Kevin. That is most definitely not a keyboard."
Oh yeah. Was that his friend who worked?
That
in the
was
store?
That was Lubick who said that.
Oh right. Well,
Thank you
that was
very much.
after Kevin demonstrated its keyboard-like properties. He was like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's not a keyboard.
Pretty sure that's not a keyboard.
I'm going to take this with me.
When I
might
went
get
to
it back."
Korea, I didn't see shit like this.
Like, yeah, just pushed
Are you
everybody
swearing
around.
in a kid's phone? Damn fucking right I am. Motherfuckers.
And was he like the chief of police or what? Because
No, he was a rogue. At one point, there was like a sergeant in uniform going, "Now come on, calm down." As if he was like a local lunatic who they allowed to dress as a policeman, but actually had no authority at all.
right, because when he talks to that Kevin kid, he's like, "Yeah, all right, get in my car. We're gonna go see your girlfriend." Normally, you would tell someone who works for you, an officer of the law, to go check it out. You would just get in your car and drive.
No, he drives away from it. No, not only that, he lets the kid onto an active crime scene, then drives off the active crime scene without doing anything.
And he leaves
Oh, don't
the
worry,
kid
kid.
there.
We've had a police dog go in. What's the police dog done? Like gone and sniffed and gone, "Yep, there was a fire." Well done.
Ate a ham sandwich that someone left on the counter.
At no point does any of this stuff get figured out.
No.
Nobody at all reports the fact that spaceships are flying out of a massive portal.
Yeah, where was everybody in the city
They're-
that night? Everybody was in bed. at the
They're
same-
all in bed at the same time. Also, there's this brilliant bit where they go, they're up on the roof and they go, "Well, I don't know how we're going to get home." And it cuts to Skeletor going into a massive street-wide portal.
Yeah.
And you just think, I don't know, maybe jump into the portal.
Yeah, just follow them and jump in. Yeah, right. I thought the same thing.
I don't know how we're going to get home. I don't know. That huge fuck-off portal that's going back to Eternia.
Yeah.
Also, like,
the look on your face, you don't know where to go.
Well, why does Evil Lynn and Skeletor even bother going to Earth?
I don't know. To
Like,
get that
there's no-
stupid key.
So what?
And then all they did was they like made it not work anymore.
Why does... I mean, let's
And they
go
didn't
right
kill
back to the
anybody.
beginning. Why does Skeletor want the destruction of everything? Why does he hate He-Man so much? Why can't they live in harmony?
He's already defeated everyone's army, and he's pretty much in control. He's in Castle Grayskull, and he's like, all right, now I don't really have any power yet,
Right.
so let me
keep fucking things up for people.
But he pretty much was in charge at that point by military control.
Yeah. By several parsecs.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, so overall opinion of the movie.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was
It's
fantastic.
hilarious.
Isn't it great?
Yeah,
Isn't it
it's
fantastic?
non-stop action.
I actually really love Master Universe, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
It makes little to no sense. It's a fish out of water story without really being a fish out of water, because He-Man just wanders around, nobody says anything at all except...
At one point, it's a man-fish in water who has to be saved
Right.
from the water so that he doesn't drown.
Maybe that's what it is. The only time there is a fish out of water, it's a man-fish pulled out of water by He-Man. So He-Man pulls a man-fish out of the water, he empties his gill flaps, end of movie.
Yeah, it's symbolism.
Symbolism. I think, I hate to put this image in your head, but I think when Teela's not around, I think He-Man and Man-at-Arms have sex with his gill flaps. They take either side of his head and have sex with his gill flaps.
Imagine the sounds he's making during this.
That's what I'm gonna picture tonight as I lie down to bed.
All right.
Yes. Well, thank you ever so much.
Thank you, John. And
for
can I,
being on this special midnight edition of the After Movie Diner.
Yeah, after midnight diner.
The after midnight movie diner.
Yeah, there you go. That makes it sound more adult, even though we went to a movie that was based on
Yeah.
children's toy line type product.
The after the Mattel midnight movie diner.
Mattel? Yeah, nice. Can I plug my,
Yes,
my
go
new
ahead.
cartoon? I just finished a... I can't even think of words anymore after talking about this movie. A 2.5-minute first scene of a longer cartoon I'm working on that I wrote with Doug Fry, who is a current member of Schlock Treatment.
And we'll be on this podcast later this year discussing wrestlers in movies. We're going to discuss The Marine.
Oh, nice. Never saw that one. So go check it out. It's a fun little cartoon, 2.5 minutes long.
It's on YouTube.
It's actually on Vimeo.
On
you go to
Vimeo?
vimeo.com/Kirk
You've been all
Howle.
modern with the Vimeo.
Yeah,
Scoffing your nose at YouTube.
yeah. I'm moving up.
Yeah.
In the world, John.
I'm not.
I got like 30 views so far.
That's tremendous. I've watched it at least twice.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And all I realized was I'm not in it.
Not yet, but you will be. You're in a later scene.
I'm in the later scene.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a voice, apparently.
Yeah, I'm trying to get...
Cartoon.
I gotta find a place, hopefully not a diner, to record your dialogue in.
Yes.
Otherwise we'll get a lot of background noise we don't want.
I want to say at least one unit of measurement that isn't real.
We'll see if we can work that in.
Yeah.
Maybe you can ad-lib, like,
I will do.
the
A
character.
flannel pep.
Yeah.
I have to go several flannel peps from here.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
We'll use that.
Print it. Done. That's it. You're not getting that again. That's on
I'll
there.
have to take that from this audio.
That's gold. That's it. Yeah, you got it with this. And then when people are like, why did he suddenly sound like he's in a diner? That's just how it is. That's how John works.
This world works.
Yeah.
Things just happen.
But no, it's Juan Johnson
Yeah.
and the Warriors of Magic Time.
That's it.
Yeah. I remember we've discussed it on the show before.
Yeah, on your live talk show thing. I think
It was, yes, on
Yeah.
Crosstalk.
Yeah.
The short-lived Crosstalk. What was weird about Crosstalk is even though it was very short-lived and even though it had literally no listeners, I still managed to get Rachel Bloom on the show, who has gone on to be headlining a CW show this fall called Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. And I managed to get Weird Paul, who is the first ever YouTuber, he claims, or first ever
I
video
think I listened to that one.
videographer. And I also managed to get Tom Sullivan, who did all the makeup effects for Evil Dead on there. And I managed to get you, Kirk,
Yeah, the best of all.
the best of all. That was when my apartment building almost burned down.
Yeah. you had to leave the room, and I had to
Yeah.
keep the listeners company.
Because ash was blowing in through the window,
Yeah.
along with carcinogens.
Did you ever find out what happened outside? No.
I think they probably killed an old person and set fire to them.
It's just New
That
York.
happens in the Bronx, man.
Yeah.
You got to roll with it.
Yeah.
It's 1990 after all.
You just close your window. It's fine. But anyway, yeah, go check that out.
Go check it out.
Vimeo.com/Kirk Howle.
And the Warriors of Magic Time on Vimeo.
And it's kind of fitting because it's sort of based on my memories of cartoons from my childhood, like He-Man and Dungeons
What I
and
was
Dragons.
most impressed by, and I think I said this before about your other cartoons that I've seen, is the timing. Spot on timing.
Cool, thanks.
I thought the timing sold every joke. Like I don't have a head for that. Like I'm not able to go. Like I could do it if it was live action. Like if it was live action, I'd be like, right, we need to see this and we need to do this and da, 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 da.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know even how to come at it as a drawn thing.
Okay, yeah, it's just...
I know you have more control in some respects, but even so.
Yeah, well, it takes a long time. It takes a lot of work and re-editing, and
So how long did that take?
just that scene probably took me like about 5 months.
5
to animate.
months.
Yeah.
Okay. So on that,
But that's partly recording voices,
Right.
Mixing the audio, getting everything to sound right in the edit, then drawing and then animating.
so we can expect the full half-an-hour episode in
Maybe 5 years.
2027. Look out for that, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you
Yeah.
on whatever replaces Vimeo.
Yeah, just go there and
in
keep refreshing.
2027.
Yeah.
And the Kirkstarter campaign will be no doubt going up soon. Are you gonna Kirkstart it?
Well, it doesn't cost me anything. I need a way to get more
Don't tell
time.
people that. Tell people that it costs you millions of dollars.
But then
Kirk, you've got to make money somehow, sir.
I would like to, but isn't that like technically illegal to tell people you need money for something that you don't need money for?
Isn't that all of Kickstarter?
I guess. But then you have to give people prizes, right?
Did what's his name? Prizes.
Isn't that how it works? You have
That's
to,
what you're looking at. People prize. Oh,
like,
give me a prize.
if you give me $5, I'll
I think a prize.
call you Pig Boy.
I'll call you up and leave a voicemail.
Insult
Hello,
you.
Big Boy. No, I believe they're called rewards or whatever. Prizes indicates that people did something to
They won
yeah,
a
they
competition.
won something, but they don't really win anything at all.
Yeah.
They just gave you fat wads of cash, and you gave them. Isn't that awful though? Like, you said to someone, like, please help me out with this thing, and at the end of it, I'll be able to produce a finished film. And on top of that, they're like, yeah, but can you give me more things? You're like, but you're paying for the finished film. Yeah, I know, but can I get a T-shirt, a CD, and a pinwheel hat, and a pair of galoshes,
And
and
then you're like, all right, well, I need another $5,000.
to pay for all the
that.
merchandise?
But if you pay for that, then I've got to give you another reward.
It's like this. It's like this thing that like merchandising is free when it really isn't.
Yeah. That's why I've never tried to do a Kickstarter. It just sounds like too much of a headache.
Yeah, it's all
I
this
get
thing.
bogged down in all these rewards, and I'll never finish my
Right,
thing.
and you'll get like 25 aprons printed up
Yeah.
for anyone who donates $50, and nobody donates $50, so you're left with $300 worth of shitty aprons.
Yeah.
I don't know why I went aprons, but I figure like it's a slightly more interesting than a T-shirt. Because you can't, like
But
a
it's
T-shirt,
also
you
something
can,
you can't just wear out in public. You can only wear it while
what I
you're
like
like
about
cooking or cleaning. It's something that either dust or dirt.
deal
or
with
food
that,
is gonna be sweating.
internet. Deal with that, pig boys. Anyway, this episode has been dedicated to Pig Boy.
Wherever you are.
Wherever you are, don't kill yourself. There's always hope.
Maybe they'll make a sequel one day and you can be Pig Man.
But if you are, it'll probably be replaced with Chris Hemsworth or Liam Hemsworth or one of the Hemsworths.
Oh, there's multiple Hemsworths now?
There are multiple Hemsworths. They are breeding as we speak. Jeff Hemsworth, Eric Hemsworth,
I say
Basil
it's-
Hemsworth.
Oh, boy. Wow. How much Hemsworths? How much is a
Is a
Hemsworth?
Hemsworth?
Yeah.
Well, if you go to a tailor, they'll normally hem, I don't know, around $25, I think, to hem both your pant legs.
How many quin jowls?
Quin jowls? Well, at least 17.6 quin jowls. The 0.6 is, of course, calf naps.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of flargon on me.
No, I'm all out of Grepnarg at this point. As I'm sure the listeners are. So thank you so much, Kirk Howle. Everyone check out Juan Johnson, The Warriors of Magic Time on the Vimeo. The Vim. I'm gonna go with that.
It's
the
hip
Vim.
now. Nice.
On the Vim.
And everybody give John Cross a big round of applause right now. Wherever you're sitting, whatever you're doing, just applaud.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
That's quite alright. I'm gonna go home now and pass out.
This track is available on the Weekend album over at miscplumbingfixtures.bandcamp.com. That's MISC plumbingfixtures.bandcamp.com.
Drifting typewriter starts on the cobbles. The ladies all gossip at the caravan. Handkerchiefs are waving, bells in the air. Bustling market with meats in a can. Well, alright. Well, alright. Doth of the cap to the undertaker. Bristling mustaches on bended knee. Cafe tables filled with berets. And here we're not very far from the sea. Well, alright. Well, alright. I don't think you've got a single clue. Nobody asks about you, and if they do, I say who. Well, you really can't say that you've got it made till your shirt sleeves are rolled and you own your very own spade. And you've dug up the garden and winked at the sun. Until then, we're all just on the run. Hurdy-gurdy one on one too many ales. The organ grinder invested wisely, and the monkey went traveling to the south of France. I'm so glad you're staying so close beside me. Dirty cups in the sink in their own terrain. Ben Man got a tip on the horses. Startle news anchored by late-breaking events. This teacher's teaching one too many courses. Well, alright. I said alright. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't think it's the right way to go. This path is littered with memories and way too slow. You really can't say that you got it right till it feels like you're home in the middle of the night. And you open the curtains and wink at the sun. Until then, we're all just having fun. Well, alright. Well, alright.